Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 25th, 2023 at approximately 4:26 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide my own life by. These same tools and philosophies have been literally shared with thousands of clients over the years, with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Now, before I go any further, this is Tuesday, so we're going to look at the world of gaming and focusing with really Dungeons and Dragons. That being said, all topics are still open. But before I open the door to it, we have Derek Galloway in the house. Yes, Derek, you got the goal. And Shadow and Son has arrived with the silver. And let us see here. We have Shadow and Son. Whoop. And hey, excuse me. Thank you. This is the link to Shadow and Sons what live stream. So if you'd be kind enough to drop in, take a look at it, listen to what he has to say. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel and then share the daylights out of it if you would please. Raymond L, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You are in with the bronze today. And Joe Stewart, you have come in with honorable mention. Now, of course, we should really pop this out there. And we're going to go back to the day, back to where it all began, as it were, which is this is the link to Spaced Out Radio, where I got so much encouragement from you guys and so much urging from the listeners at Spaced Out Radio that I ended up going live. Okay, which is why I'm here. As of March 6th of 2021, I actually started doing postings. Things have taken a massive change for the better in my eyes. Okay. Now, you know how I've complained about Work BC and about, a number like they're the ones that I tried going through. Everything got scrambled. They finally gave me a key that is going to make my life and potentially your lives a lot more productive. Okay, we're not going to get into that tonight, but rest assured, I finally have a focus on it. But I took let me do two things I usually forget. Do not ask me how I manage to forget them almost every time, but at least I'm consistent. Okay, now in 2018, I had a major stroke. Well, the hospital called it minor. I'm thinking I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, kind of serious, but it screwed up everything in a lot of ways. Okay, and just the last couple of weeks here, things finally fell back into play. Now, I've gone back to game mastering, but I've taken it to a whole new level. Okay, and what I mean by that is, okay, let's think that through before I put my foot in my mouth. I was told by one individual in particular, and they were right. I use gaming as a way of developing my world, the physical world in which I live. Okay, so what I did with my campaign, as you may know, if you play any of the role-playing games that have gods in them, or if you live in the corporeal world, where many different religions have evolved, okay, what I've done is gone, okay, here we have a bunch of gods, various different people worshiping various different gods. What did I do? I went, okay, in the campaign I run, I've got 3 player characters, 3 PCs. Okay, each one happens to be worshiping a different god. So I took things to a different level. And I went, okay, here's the gods they're worshiping. They're sitting on one side. Then I took 3 evil gods and put them on the other side. I now have 6 gods sitting around a table playing with the PCs, making things more complicated, giving them tasks and what have you amongst themselves. Okay, and depending on the PCs, on their behavior, will determine whether the gods go, okay, we're going to help you or we're not. Or we're just going to screw something up just on principle. Now, I've already put this in motion in one case to stop a character that was playing in character, but things went a little sour. So one of the gods went down and went, nope, we need you over here outside of range. So that worked out well. Okay, so it wouldn't it though? But unfortunately, the odds of that, Derek, I'm not the one to ask where it is. Aside from being at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, I can tell you if you're hoping to get anything out of the bottom of Mariana's Trench, good luck with that. First of all, the pirates didn't go out that far. I don't think. Well, maybe they did. I know in my case, when I was running a dragon ship, I ran all the way across the where was it? The top of Scandinavia, and all the way from up at the top of Scandinavia, all the way down into the lower reaches, right by the entrance to the Mediterranean. In today's world, I'm global. Told you I was going global. Somebody, as soon as I said I was going to go global with the newsletter, somebody in here, and I know they were in Australia, piped up and went, Keith, we're getting your newsletter in Australia. You're already global. I'm going to push it a little further. Okay, because I have got a vision in mind that I'm going to start putting into play. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, nostalgia, the nice part about it, see, in my eyes, I'm very much a dinosaur. Okay. And I do agree with you, Derek. You know, Shadow and Sun went through throwback Dungeons and Dragons earlier, apparently. And well, here I am. I've been a throwback since before throwbacks were actually throwbacks. You know, but I still work primarily with second edition. Still tabletop, but I figured out how to combine it with the various other kinds, not the least of which was Aftermath. Now, here's a neat little kicker to it. Okay, not only am I working with Dungeons and Dragons and Aftermath, but there's a backbone for the world that they're working on. They just don't know it yet. Okay, the player characters are going to find out in the near future. This is what they're playing in. Eternal. How you doing? Glad you could join us. And classically BC, welcome aboard. Um, classically, I have looked at Baldur's Gate 3. I played Baldur's Gate 1, but I've looked at Baldur's Gate 3 with both my sons. They both play it. Myself, the system is too dark, and I mean as in visually too dark for me, and moves too fast for my eyes to track. So the odds of my playing it are not good. I am, however, playing Skyrim. You know, I don't play Skyrim online. I haven't looked at that one yet. Although it is something I may decide to venture into. Yeah, I will. I am going to be looking at it because of the fact I do like the look of it, but I also know it is way too dark for me for the most part. If my son can figure out how to lighten it up, and both my sons are very versed on that side, I will take a look at it. You know, because I've got to quite literally force myself into the technological field and get a solid handle on it. So I've turned around and gone, okay, let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm taking my world. Okay, I'm still building the publishing company, by the way. But here's where planning comes in. And like I've told people, people don't plan to fail on the whole, they fail to plan. At this point, I am building the following, all combined under one roof. I'm building, I'm reigniting my consulting side. Okay, at $80 an hour, not at $80 every 15 minutes. Okay, many of the online that you talk to. Okay, number one, many of the online psychics of the businesses run at $3 a minute. Okay, at $3 a minute, you're looking at $180 an hour. The people that require that information, require the assistance, on the whole, don't have that. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. In my case, and it literally, I will be working over video, meaning, if at all possible, there will be exceptions. Okay, because I've spent 40 years doing this, for almost 40 years, 1996. 1986, wait a minute, no, 1986, I started reading professionally, as in, I started charging money. I have been charged as much as $2,600 an hour for what I am now offering at 80, as in 20 bucks every 15 minutes. But I work prepaid. Okay, there's none of this charging because frankly, I don't deal with credit cards except through PayPal, which I do take PayPal. Now, that said, we're going to get into how all of this ties together. Okay, from any of the business side of it, this is the email address necessary to get a hold of me. It's also the email address that I use for PayPal. Okay, so that said, that's the one side. The books, as I told you, are coming up. There's a lot of them already in print. And this is the one site that currently has the details of 7 out of 8 of the books I've already got in print. Okay, and I've got to get that updated and what have you as well. Now, that's 2 parts of it. Third part, I'm building the publishing company. Now, where it comes to the poems, I'm going to be charging $20 to get your poem into an anthology. You'll still have the rights to the poem. I just have to have a letter from you stating not only here's the poem, but giving me the right to reproduce it in part or in whole and sell it as is. Okay. In return for that, you end up with a percent, and I've got to work out the definitive percentage of the income as far as what you get. Okay, of my sales. You sell your own, you keep it. Do what you will. Okay, Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, that is the third side of it. The fourth side is I'm building a school. Done deal. I have figured out this is where I've got to go. All of this will fall under one umbrella. Nathan, where are we? Here is the link to Nathan's live stream. So absolutely drop by, give him a, listen to what he says. If you like what he's got to say, give him a thumbs up, do share, do subscribe, and share the daylights out of the thing. Because like I said, I am here to do one thing primarily, That is, turn the lights on. I've stepped out of the shadows. Now it's time to turn the spotlight on and go, this is the way we're heading. You can follow anybody you choose. Okay, you really can. I am not perfect, and I'm certainly not politically correct. You're more than welcome there, Nathan. Okay, and again, Nathan, I mean, I was really amazed at how much fun your stream on Saturday was. Sadly, I started getting dizzy. I had no choice but to take a break. And what did I do? Well, there it is. Priorities first. Grabbed my coffee and left it somewhere and almost forgot where it was. So, it's an excellent question. We're about to. Okay. Now, do understand when we talk about Hogwarts style, I'm not talking about giving anybody the ability to cast a fireball. We aren't going there. However, teaching people how to manipulate your world so that you can become successful in your own eyes and thereby in reality. Yeah, Tuesday is just wired, isn't it? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. I started, what do we got? Exactly, Nathan. The thing is, when I started, now my parents, what? Give me half a second here. Move that out of the way. If I sound a little wired, probably am. Probably not a bad thing. When I was a kid, I did things that were absolutely bizarre, not the least of which was talking to the deceased before I even knew how to talk to the living. Quite frankly, I like the deceased more than I like the living most of the time. But people have made the mistake of assuming I like off-worlders more than I like other people. Now, my parents said, stay away from the metaphysical world. Don't tell people what you're capable of. I'm building a school. I'm no longer interested in whether or not I hide. I spent 45. No, I spent 55 years hiding from the world, really. Oh, real history isn't going to get taught in the schools anyway. Okay, when I'm talking about building a school, I'm not talking about going to the government and going, oh, what courses can I teach and how do I have to teach them? I'm not interested in that. Okay, because what's being taught in the schools isn't what is required. In case you haven't noticed, history is written by the victors or the survivors, depending on who you talk to. My parents told me stay away from the metaphysical world. Don't tell people what you are and what you do. And yet, for my 16th Christmas, my parents turned around and bought me literally this deck of tarot cards. Okay. I will be teaching through online. I've just got to work out pricing and what have you for it. But that is the road I'm going down. The publishing is absolutely the same way. Now, with the gaming world, what I'm doing is this. I've got these 6 gods sitting around, get this, a gaming table, playing havoc with the players' worlds, going, okay, this is the world we've got. Now, what are you up to? And the gods may do this. You're getting out of hand. We're just going to move you over here. Or things are way too complicated. So here's a problem for you. Now, as gamers, some of you will get this. Okay. As gamers, here you are walking through the forest. Everything's going tickety-boo. And all of a sudden, no warning, this little monster shows up. Okay. Now, this, for those of you that don't know, is a wyvern. But most of the time, like if you watch The Lord of the Rings, they've got a couple of wyverns, but everybody paints lizards gray. I haven't entirely decided what color, but I do know this guy is going to be very bright when I get finished with him. This one I'm going to get started on. Actually, I just forgot. See, I'm thinking of doing the skins and the wings in orange. Like I said, you take a look at Terran physiology of the reptilian world and of, for that matter, the fish, the avians, doesn't matter. The brighter the colors, the more poisonous they are. For those of you that aren't aware, this little monster has a poisonous tail. So I've chosen to make him very bright. Okay. Shadow goes, I painted one in browns and gray greens. I'm thinking orange. I'm thinking orange and blue. Don't ask me why. Well, I know the underside might be green and blue. Because if I put the wings as blue and put the back of the wings as green, all of a sudden you got a critter that is invisible from ground or air. You don't see it coming until it's already on top of you. As a matter of fact, I like that idea. No. Quetzalcoatl is a whole different ball game. Oh, I do have those as well. See, there's a neat little thing here. Where is the little monster? Not there. There he is. I've shown you guys this one before. This guy is in the Return to Paradise. Okay. But you'll notice he happens to have a color on his back. And again, in this case, this is a subterranean lizard. Now, in the Yldrbacian Chronicles, because of course I'm not taking chances with name infringement, aside from when you look at the elves and the dwarves, which are all throughout history. Okay, there are certain races I don't worry about. This one, I've got a very definitive history for him. Okay, in the Yldrbacian Chronicles, yes, his size is correct. Okay, what do we got? See, I don't have the room for that. I'm just getting really carried away now. And now that I've got a definitive, solid picture in my head, okay, I've decided that we've got a few things going on. Okay, number one. Oh, he looks small until we do this. Actives. Nope, those are ours. He looks small until you compare him to this, which is this is a full-size human. Then you've got this guy. So somehow I don't think you're going to be squishing him anytime soon. But, okay, we have that little issue. And all of a sudden, you've got an interesting little problem. This is in the Yldrbacian Chronicles. Okay. But what I'm doing, yeah, you might need a bit. Joe, how you doing? I overlooked the name. How you doing, Joe? Glad you could join us. Where is it? Down there. Wonder if I can get it out without too much trouble. Nope. Not gonna fight with that right now. But I've got a very clear opinion. You have pointy sticks. Don't forget, Joe, if you've got pointy sticks and you're going after something like that, get oil of impact and throw the pointy stick. Okay. What I've decided is these characters need some direction to go. people in general need some direction to go. So I decided I'm opening the doors. Now, it's kind of ironic. I was thinking about going back into the consulting business. A client of mine that I've been looking for since I actually got since the company I was working for closed. Finally reached out. We finally connected. She's been looking for me for 6 months. So, are these things fast? I've never actually clocked one, but the answer is yes. Okay. However, what do we got? Oh, an 1862 Parrot rifle. Well, that'll certainly get its attention, but if you hit it right, yes, it will do a lot of damage. Okay, these guys are not, and they do have thick leathery hide, but unlike dragons, they are not armored per se. Okay. On the other hand, I am making modifications to the D&D version of this. See, the D&D version, or the actual, the D&D version of a wyvern, I don't think has a breath weapon, but I might be overlooking that. It's got a tail spike, and of course, as you can see, it's got one heck of a set of jaws. Okay, but I'm going to be making this guy extremely bright. Okay, and then I'm going to go, okay, guys, now it's time to figure out what you're up to. In the case of gaming, I'm taking this whole thing of here's my world. Now it's time to make it happen. And I even figured out how to bring it all into an absolute cataclysm for them, just on principle. I like that. And Joe's going, I have a 10-pound 1862 Parrot rifle. It's basically a big Civil War gun, a war cannon. And a war cannon will work because these guys they don't dodge well. In the air, I wouldn't recommend shooting at him. Primarily because, not with a cannon anyway, primarily because what goes up will come down. Okay, but if he's landed and coming at you, which they do walk to a degree, bear in mind when they walk, these little talons on the wings are used essentially as feet. Yeah, Joe's going, my D&D character is that psychotic Civil War artillery captain that lost his mind and shoots everything in sight. Ouch! I had a character, literally, the first time he was on a boat, he was a dwarf. First time he was on a boat, he's staying away from the edge of the boat, and he looks at the captain and he goes, what am I supposed to do, Captain? The captain goes, well, do whatever you did on the last ship. So he never thought about it. He walked over, and all of a sudden the ship comes to a grinding halt. And the captain's running around like, what the heck happened? One of the sailors points at me and goes, he did it. The captain comes up and says, what did you do? So I dropped the anchor. He goes, why did you drop the anchor? I said, well, you told me to do exactly what I did on the last ship. Apparently that wasn't what he had in mind. But the way I figure it, I'm building an empire. You're invited. Okay. Now, this is where this neat little thing called a Wombox comes in. Okay. I will be, and I've already started doing it. I mentioned I was going to have the newsletter out a couple of days ago. It was gone. That night, I got everything shipped out. Now, that's a handy little item because fortunately, these guys are not fireproof. There's all kinds of neat little things you can do. And the one thing I encourage all of you to do, and I would love to hear what you're up to, okay, is quite seriously, it's time to take a look at your world and go, are you content with your world? I'm changing mine. I'm done. Okay. I'm out of options of waiting for other people, so I'm doing it my way. That would be first and foremost. So with that in mind, oh, yeah, you would have loved the last game, and Shadow, I know you'll get a bang out of this. I'm sure most gamers recognize this. So what did I do? I had one of these come up inside a bar. Okay. They were sitting inside an active bar, and I had one of these. It's called a violette or a land shark. Okay. In the Yldrbacian chronicles, this is also called a terror ram. Okay. Also known as an earth ram. The thing, as anybody that knows about them, yeah, 30-06 would do nicely on the wyvern. On this, shoot at the mouth, because you hit the head, it's going to bounce. Actually ran a character that was a dragon tamer. But I'm now looking at it going, okay, how do I take the D&D world where I've got this one little option? Nope. You're absolutely right, Joe. No one expects a Balrog. And Lord knows in the Hobbit, they didn't expect the Balrog to show up then either. Okay, I gotta go on, not right now. But I'm looking at now. Let me ask you this, guys. Okay, I'm building a school. I'm building a healing center. In your eyes, and yeah, I'm going to brainstorm with you here while I'm gaming because I'm doing the same dang thing and changing the world as we go. But if you were looking for a school, for a way to learn, literally almost anything. No, I'm not going to be focusing on the traditional classes. I'm not going to be focusing on living up to anybody's standards but my own. And rest assured, those are variable, they're variable but very concrete. If you were looking for a school, for a place to learn something, let's see if we can come up with some ideas of the things, especially in the metaphysical and or the imagination world. Plus, of course, when we look at the real world, what sorts of things do you guys feel are actually lacking in today's educational system? This is what we're striving to change. Okay, I'm going to be doing the same thing because I've told the characters and the players in my game. Number one, gods are involved. In turn, you can say what you will before a combat, discuss what you want and what you desire to. Once a combat starts, you step in, you speak out of turn, and you're going to pay a consequence. Okay, it's a simple way of making sure that things stay on a stable track. Okay, and of course, in this case, it's a direct way to force them to actually work with each other. I'm about to give them a like on the next game, I'm going to be giving them a very direct combined goal. Absolutely, they do, Raymond. And by the way, welcome aboard, Raymond L. Joe, the fact that you've dealt with the Battle of Waterloo and against Napoleon still, in my eyes, makes you a tabletop gamer. Okay, from the standpoint of you have to think in terms of what you are up to. It's tactical training, or if you will, critical thinking, which is something that today's world doesn't get. Think about your actions. Think about the consequences of your actions. Think about your goals. How are you going to get there? This is what I'm aiming at guiding people through. Raymond, do understand something when I talk about spells and incantations. Okay, you can calling them spells and incantations works. Will I start teaching people how to work with black magic? Absolutely not. Okay, I will find people to discuss how magic itself works, or when required. But understand, I spent a lifetime. Well, I spent my lifetime, and I don't mean 60 years here. I mean, I've got memories that date back literally a billion flips. Okay. And further. But that's okay. This is one of the reasons why I'm building the characters. And yes, I'm getting into the landscapes. Again, this is a way of just bringing it all together. It's also why I'm pushing to get these books written so that it can be passed, and so that it can be passed on a little easier. I just talked to my kids about it. I'm going to involve them in the evolution of this business because, like I told them, when I pass away, they're getting it. Okay, what they do with it, I can't do. I can't deal with. I can't determine that. But I will involve them as much as I can. With the gaming world I'm building, I am taking one of the major artifacts out of I think it came out of D&D second edition and telling them, okay, here's the artifact you guys have to find. This will drag them into a number of different scenarios. And yes, in answer to that wonderful question, I am looking at that also because you guys asked me to write an interactive book. Okay, whereby do this, pick which of these three answers you want, which of these three or four paths you desire to take. Depending on which one you take will open the door. Okay, I will get started on, and like one thought at a time. What do you think? Like I said with the newsletter, I was going to have it out the other night. It went out. I'm starting to lay out the first of the interactive books. Okay, of the interactive books. I'm starting the layout for it tonight. Once I get done this stream. Well, actually, in all fairness, as soon as I get done this stream, and Nathan, I would love to be on the show tonight, to drop in on your panel. No, it ain't tonight, on Saturday. Tonight's Friday, isn't it? What the heck is tonight? Gives you an idea what my day looks like, doesn't it? Today's Tuesday. Okay. Because as soon as I get done this stream, I've got a consultation reading from an old client coming into play. Okay. And so that'll happen as soon as I get done the stream. Well, 20 minutes later. Very important aspect for me. Okay. Am I taking this neat little thing and blowing it out of proportion and starting to build it? Absolutely. The research is starting now. And this is why I say, I do appreciate that, Raymond. It is time for us to pool our energies and take this world by storm. Okay. What I mean by that is I'm only one person. However, I fully intend on turning the lights on and going, okay, here's the path we're running down. You get to choose. Is this a great wall to run into, or would you like to turn? If you'd like to turn, here's a way, or here's a handle to get up a little. Sometimes, Raymond, that requires a spell, a potion. Now, a spell, understand, is primarily what I teach, is how to take your desire and put it into a practical, non-invasive, non-abusive stance to change the way the world is working around you so that you become more confident in your own right. Now, picture this. Not that. Picture this. 50 years ago. Yeah, 50 years ago, I wouldn't be caught talking to anybody. Okay, you wanted a conversation, especially if you were female. You had to carry the conversation. Somebody would ask me a question, I'd go, there's the answer, and I'd walk off. There would be no explanation. In this case, I fully intend on laying it out, not only in terms that people can understand, but I'll walk you through it step by step and give you the reasons why you do it the way I'm suggesting. You don't desire to do it that way, that's your issue. Okay, but I will be very clear about it. The way I teach is the way I teach. It doesn't make it the most politically correct way. And rest assured, and this I will stand on until the end of time. Your skin color, your orientation, who you believe in, what you worship, I don't care from the standpoint of whether or not I'll teach. Okay. I care whether you follow the guidelines and work properly in the path that is intended. Okay. Now, do understand, for those of you that believe in God, God gave you free will, free choice, but not freedom of consequence of what you do. Okay. I'm telling you the same thing. I will come up with a price for it within the next week or so. I just have to look into prices. But I can tell you the formula I'm looking at. And it applies to it's the same application from your end. If you're looking at opening a business, find out what the competition charges. Find out the lowest you can find and the highest you can find. Turn around and set your price at about 2/3 of the trip between the lowest and the highest. Set it right there, not at the top, definitely not at the bottom, but make certain you set the price at a price you're willing to pay. For me, $80 an hour, as in $20 for 15 minutes, does put it inside the affordable venue. Okay. Am I going to bring it down, bring it on special? Well, let's face it. It's already on a heck of a price. I have been paid in excess of $2,600 an hour for what I'm now charging $60. Now, in the gaming world, okay, I've taken a look at it and gone, okay, I've got these characters. So that there is a beginning and an end. Okay, I'm starting them off. And this will happen on the next game, which I think, assuming everybody shows up. Uh-oh, Derek. Uh-oh. Absolutely, Derek. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And definitely take care of the kids. The kids have to be a priority when you have them. They absolutely do. So I do. And if you've got questions, Derek, absolutely drop me a line. You know where to get a hold of me. Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. I will keep an eye open for it. Talk about a lot of work to get it here, but I do appreciate your continued effort and absolutely your continued support. Now, the crew, the three guys I've got playing, okay, are going to be given at the next game, which should be on Sunday morning. Okay, they're going to be given directions to go and actually pick a direction to go and find an artifact. Okay, it will point them to what they're looking for. So that's the biggest thing that I have to deal with from that end. But that same campaign that I'm building for them is going to determine a lot of what I'm dealing with. I'm going to use it to focus on writing the interactive book. Now, the thing is, the interactive book is probably going to be a year in the making. Okay. But let me ask you this, guys. In your opinion, and input would be really appreciated, where it comes to an interactive book, curiosity, but how many pages deep do you think would be reasonable or enjoyable? And primarily, this is probably going to apply those of you that are actual gamers. Probably get this question, understand the question a lot better. But how long of a campaign storyline do you feel should be in that book? And absolutely, if you're listening to this after the stream, drop me a line in the comments and let me know. This would be really appreciated. I have made a point of going into the comments to make certain that I stay on top of it. Okay. I'm also looking at some interesting little other odds and ends of making things a little more practical via the newsletter and via the live streams. Okay. because from my standpoint, this is, there we go. Thank you so much there, Shadow. I do appreciate it. Yeah, like I will. The one thing, where are we here? Where did I put my pen? There it is. Okay, now, because I'm playing deadlines on myself, okay, a short, yeah, I don't desire to rush it. Okay, but I've got a few things I'm working on, but I'm starting to plan down the road. And again, because I've got this campaign on the go now, it gives me a lot of new directions to go. Only I figured out how to combine them all and combine all of it under one roof. One of the things I will tell you, especially if you're still in the room there, Raymond, okay, is I will be sharing with you some of the things, not herbological. I'm talking because I am not an herbalist. Okay. And because of that, and way too many health questions, I'm talking about philosophy. I'm talking about mindset, where it comes to being able to manipulate the energy in your world and change the direction. Now, I will absolutely tell you that the short books that I've got that I'm putting together, Believe in Your series or BIY, okay, that series is going to be done in as much detail as I can. Shadow, haven't yeah, he says gotta run. Okay, game time, gotta run. That one I can relate to all too well. Okay, this is why I don't come on the air on Thursday. Okay, but I will be dealing with philosophies and ways of manipulating your own outlook. Okay, now to give you an idea how well this works. Okay, I've been sitting at, like I was at 246. Decided I was not breaking 250. That was 2 years ago. The last 6 months, I've been stable at about 195. I started to drop the weight again because I decided enough playing around. I'm heading for 180. As of this morning, I was down to 192.2. Okay. And that's the direction I'm heading. I'm not slowing down. Well, I will. When I get to 180, my dad told me flat out, with your build, with your metabolism, get to 180 and stay there. So that's where I'm heading. There is no way I'm targeting 145, which is what the BC Health Authority says at my height I should weigh. I am not going there. Can you picture me being 50 pounds lighter? Okay, that'd be great. Be a walking skeleton, but it'd be great. Okay, where are we? Need my mouse. The problem with a mouse is that, it's a good thing it's tied down because that funny little lock on it stops it from running too far. Where are we here? Now, the thing with spells, the spells I talk about are I'm going to be teaching people. Yes, and I will teach them here in part. But the real focus on them, I will do face to face. Because when I talk about teaching, okay, we will be scheduling it for a definitive period. I got to figure out how to bring more than one person in, but for the time being, it is going to be on a one-to-one base because I have no idea how to get multiple people onto my computer yet. Heck, I don't know how to get one person onto my computer yet. But I take a look at the game. The biggest challenge any game master has is keeping the people moving in the right direction. Well, here's the funny part about it. I'm taking the idea of a game master and going, here's a world that we're working in. Here, we're going to build a world where people get along, where color doesn't matter, where what your orientation is or who you vote for or how much money you have is not a deciding factor. Okay, there's not a one of you in here of any position that is of any more or any less importance than somebody else. Okay, and that applies to me as well. I'm no better than you guys are. I just simply have a viewpoint that I'm finally willing to go after. Okay, now, like I said, where it comes to some of the things you, and I do have a one thought at a time, would you mind? Brain's working overtime, I'm pretty certain of it. I do have my pad of paper here to make notes on. So let me ask you this, guys. I know people desire to learn about the different races. Got that down to a fine art, so I've got a number of them I'm working on. Okay, but what are I'm gathering that some of the things that you guys have noticed are lacking are, for instance, oh, absolutely, Joe. Joe's going, do you ever use your knowledge of extraterrestrials in your Dungeons and Dragons scenarios? Absolutely. This little chap here. Okay. Not this color of one, but this little chap here, a Sarkon. Okay, what you would know as Alpha Draconis. Okay, or as a Drake. In the original writing of the Race of the Worlds, I called them a Drake. Okay. Human. Okay, standard human size, 6 feet. Sarkon might give you an idea how big you're looking at. And this is what people are going, well, why don't they show themselves in real time? Why don't they show up on our streets? Can you picture a critter like that showing up? Can you picture what's going to happen? Okay. Now, that said, the other one that I have introduced, or more to the point, I take out of the race of the world, my knowledge of the extraterrestrials, okay, are the Moldocs. Now, everybody knows what an orc is. Okay, if you're a gamer anyway. A Moldoc will eat an orc for breakfast and not even blink. Okay, and am I bringing these guys into a situation? They don't know it yet, unless my son's listening in, and then he'll get an idea. I'm moving them into a situation that ought to be entertaining. From my standpoint, from theirs, don't know. Okay, but I am combining not only, and especially in this world, in this empire that I'm building, the place that I'm building, that I'm turning on the porch light. And, Elton John wrote a song called Candle in the Wind, you know, and I believe it was called Candle in the Wind. Okay, I am literally putting a candle in the window and going, okay, here's where I am. You desire your world to change. Let's do it one step at a time. I'm going to do it in my gaming world, but I'm going to use that to manifest it in the material world. It gives me a brainstorming place. Okay. That said, okay, I am putting together a list of the different things that are going to have to be taught. Okay, that people have to learn. And I say have to for one reason. The way people are today, okay, they don't pay attention. Take a look at the world around you. You know, I was going through a parking lot today. Now I was out. I do not like hiccups. Functionally sized coffee cup. But I was going through a parking lot today, and a guy was driving down the wrong side of a clearly marked one-way path. And he was getting mad because people were in the way. People don't think anymore. They aren't taught to think. They're taught what to think, not how. And this is one fundamental difference between what I'm building. Okay. I'm going to build a school where people learn to think. And yes, that said, I'm my number one student, as in, I look at things, go, this is what I'm doing ineffectively. How can I make it more effective? Okay. Now, you can follow this to a degree. You won't be able to read it. This has to go out of the way. Get a couple things moved because they are in my way right now. But you'll notice these drawers here all have pencils, pens, paintbrushes, my zip drives, okay, markers, you name it, I got them all over the place here. Okay, even stamps and labels, meaning I'm taking everything and organizing it, and what isn't organized properly is being disposed of or simply repurposed. Okay, if you're striving to change your world, if you're happy with your world the way it is, stay put. I'm not the one to tell you whether it's a good world or not. I am the one to tell you that I'm building a gaming world, and in order to make it more exciting, the one complaint I heard from all of us was there wasn't enough of that little part of gaming called hack and slash, where you run into a bunch of people that you can actually take out, but it takes a little bit of time. Okay, I won't be handing out phenomenal amounts of experience, because from my standpoint, the problem is this: if characters raise in experience level too fast, they don't develop their personality for the character. Okay, same if you're building a business. If you don't build the foundation right, your business will falter in all likelihood. The biggest problem people have is I'm building a global empire. Okay, that's just the way that's going to go. But I now know exactly what I'm building and exactly what I've got to do to get there. I don't have all the tools, but I know which tools I'm missing. And that is the fundamental key to success in your own world. Okay, this is why. Where are we here? That's my long box. Whoop. Database for just day-to-day life. It goes up there. My one box for my advertising. You notice you can't hack these things with a computer. It's funny, speaking of getting hacked by a computer hacker, I got a phone call from a marketing company. And brilliant. We're a professional marketing company. They didn't think to put people in separate rooms. They had an entire room full of call center people. Okay, going, we provide this professional service. And I'm like, okay, that's great, but you call me back when you haven't got 15 people in the same room. Good luck on me ever hearing from them again. But here's the thing. Take a look at your life. Now I'm looking at mine going, I'm not happy with what I got. Okay, so here's the things that have to go in my eyes. And again, I know you're looking across the room. Okay. These books here, you can't really see them. This shelf, the three bottom shelves, are full of old collectors' comics. I am now actively looking for buyers. Okay. This whole stack is simply scrap paper that I can use for making lists and what have you as I go through them. Now the lists get destroyed at the end of the day anyway. Okay. I am a firm believer, including where it comes to gaming, of getting your ideas down on paper or on a computer, on a digital recorder. Doesn't matter. Make a list, but only 3 things deep. Okay. And make sure each one of those things is only 15 minutes to half an hour in duration. So, what do I got here? 5. I've actually got 20 drawers there. So this is the way this works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'm doing is just numbering the drawers to make sure that starting right this second, and this applies to gaming in this fashion, I didn't bring my gaming books back with me. Okay. What was just written? Yes, pointy sticks are very necessary. Uh-oh. Joe goes, I started a storm and it was fun. I remember having a character one day, he walked into the bar. He was only 3'6". Walked into the bar. And that is exactly the point, Joe. Gaming meets real life. We're going to take the gaming world as in what people know is Dungeons and Dragons, Aftermath. Maybe you're playing World of Warcraft. Maybe you're playing a mini game like Car Wars. Now, I will tell you, we are not going to talk about running over people. Well, we might talk about them, but we're not going to encourage it by any functional stretch. But this is the issue of paranormal meets gaming meets the real world. Okay. In a logic based fashion, we're going to translate your imagination and your higher senses into quantifiable form where you can physically alter the way your life is going. Yes, I know that sounds like a bold claim. However, I will tell you this. I wouldn't be making this claim if I wasn't doing it myself. Okay. So I have here, where is it? There we go. Hard copy because hard clipboard because it's necessary. So we have, what is this? Drawer 1 is pencils. Drawer 2 is pens. Now you notice I'm writing these down while I'm talking to you because this is how important this whole mess works. Those are mechanical pencils. Now, by getting organized in your own world, you're going to be able to change your world from what it is to what you desire it to be. Okay. Now, those are fill pens and these are permanent markers, which is a difference. Then up here, this neat little drawer. Show you this one a little closer. Like I said, I was getting more into the creative side. So what we're looking at here is small whittling tools for fine work. Okay, what do we got? Preacher, how you doing? Yeah, preacher goes, he goes, I use weighted hit dice. Absolutely there. I mean, if you think about it, Raymond, okay, and this is what people miss. When I was growing up, I heard it all the time from other parents. You've got a wonderful imagination. Now grow up and be an adult. Okay, the most creative people in the world are still using their imagination. Okay. That one I won't buy there, Joe. You think about it. Now what the heck was his name? I'm drawing a blank. The guy that built Apple. Okay. Did he just use logic to come up with that and with the idea of a competitor for IBM? Did he just go, oh, I think I'll be a competitor? No, what he did was he went, this is what the world requires. I'm building it. Thank you so much there, Eric. Do appreciate it. Gotta ask, Eric. Um, Definitely an important question from my end. Do you prefer online being called Eric, Preacher, or Markham? Okay, just it's an important question from my standpoint. I know from many people's standpoint, my own included. I don't care what people call me. Way I figure it, I've been called just about everything under the sun. Now, what is that? That's miscellaneous, which has to be mixed. It has to be sorted. Then we have this one, which has paintbrushes. And drawer number. Whoop, what did I miss? Pencils, pens, mechanicals, felt, permanent markers, mess. Oh, engine. This is actually whittling tools. Then we have zip drives on 9s. Ten is, those are paper clips. Again, this boils down to going, okay, if you're going to change your life, figure out what your life looks like. Make absolutely certain you know where you're standing. Well, thank you very much there, Eric. I appreciate it. It's just knowing what people like to be called, in my eyes, is actually a lot more effective. Okay, but if you're going to change your life, I use gaming. You know, yeah. Joe goes, I like Wozniak. He created the US Festival. I went to both of them. Absolutely there, Eric. I used to have a like Jeremiah in the Birth of the Wolf Pack. Okay. If you saw them, and clearly you did. Well, no, because that's not from that. There was a movie out called The Dogs of War. Okay. That gun Jeremiah used to pack around with him. Okay. And yes, I realize cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Eric, but that comes out of Shakespeare, does it not? That particular phrase. Thank you. I appreciate that. But the gun, if you take a look at the movie The Dogs of War, there was something there was not a man there was a auto loading grenade launcher. Jeremiah used to pack one. Actually, you see about it. Oh, so when you're looking at your life, what I'm doing right now is I'm literally redesigning the whole dang thing while I'm looking at you, and I'm doing the same thing for the gaming world. Those are paper clips. Up here, what do we got? Those are just stickers that may will not stay put. And this one here, that one's empty. That gives me a little room to work. Then we have more felts. Ran out of room in the other drawer in case you hadn't figured it out. More permanent markers. Apparently, I don't have a shortage of those. Then we've got more zip drives. And like I said, what I'm doing here is literally taking this and going, okay, what do I do with it to make it work proper? Here we have, yep, batteries up there. And we have staples. And yeah, I realize you guys work on digital. I still work hard copy. So staples becomes kind of an important factor. Then we have 18, which has more mechanical pencils. I think I may be overloaded on some of my writing utensils. 19 has labels. And 20, I believe, has stamps. Now, I just took a look at my drawer and my drawers over there. I went, okay, what's not working? Now I've got the list sorted out already. I gotta ask Joe, I'm not arguing with who's done which, but I am curious from your recollection, um, who, like what, which one of Shakespeare's plays that was that let, blah, blah, blah. Where are we here? Let. Cry havoc and let flip the dogs of war. Oh, see, I only read in all my years of school. I only actually studied Macbeth. Okay, and I don't recall enough of it in the actual reciting of it to be of much use. Oops. Yeah, I can just picture Eric turning down a beer. Myself turning down a beer, unless it's root beer, is very probable. Turning down a coffee, on the other hand, not likely so much. But I just took this and went, okay, that's what I've got here. Now, let's take that back where it belongs. And again, you desire your world to change. Make it happen. Don't wait around for somebody else to tell you it's time to do it. Okay. Those are double A's, those are triple A's. I've got a couple of spare boxes. And again, like I said, this whole idea of procrastination doesn't work. Now, I've got a gaming world where I'm giving the guys a direction to go, as in, go find this artifact. And here's the artifact. For those of you that are gamers, you'll recognize this in a hurry. I'm getting them to go and get the rod of 7 parts. Okay. But while they are doing that, okay, it's literally going to be a question of making absolutely certain that they bring it back to the right person. Just kind of a necessity in my eyes. But by giving them a definitive goal, a definitive project, they will have to actually make things happen and figure out how to work together. Bear in mind, they've already started a war between themselves, which is funny. In case you're wondering what I'm doing here, it's actually quite simple. I got a whole bunch of these spare batteries, and in today's world, kind of a necessary evil. To look at that. Now, gravity works. So let's see if that worked. Like I said, I had a couple of spare drawers in here. So there's double A's. And they fit in there nicely. I pull this drawer out, and it's got a few double A's. So we take the doubles out of here. Again, procrastination will accomplish virtually nothing. Okay, one of the biggest things I find fascinating with gaming is the game master is supposed to set the world up. Okay, and then the players are supposed to pick a direction. Let's see. Joe is going. Where are we? Yeah, we're just looking at a few. Okay, Joe. The answer to your question, regardless of what the so-called spellcasters have told you, the answer is no. You cannot put a spell on somebody to make them fall in love with you. That said, well, that's not entirely true. You can. Problem. Sooner or later, they're going to fight with it, but much more immediate is you're left with the question of, are they in love with me because I'm me, or are they in love with me because of the spell? Meaning it won't last long. Okay. Now, on the flip side of that, okay, you can turn around and put it in, use a spell to make yourself more appealing. Okay, to make yourself a better, seem more compatible, or more to the point, be more compatible, so that you become more likable. Okay, more appealing to other people. Now, of course, again, whenever you're looking at spell casting, understand you've got to utilize it. The difference between white magic and black magic. Okay, the difference between the two is not the spell, it's the intention behind it. Okay, that's where you have the biggest problem, the biggest difference. What are we looking at here? Oh, we're looking at that. Okay. Now, again, like I said, I was pulling these apart because you'll notice the disruption in the back end of the room here is going away. And I will tell you, you follow the path that I'm referring to, and you will find that your life does take a turn for the better. Okay, it's up to you to make it happen, mind you. Okay, but the important factor when you're looking at spell casting, okay, is number one, never, ever, ever. Christy Abels, how you doing? And I do believe I saw something there, Christy. I do believe, and if that's the case, it'll happen tonight. I know I've got a couple of friend requests that came in on my Facebook account that I will be responding to once I'm done this stream. Okay, where it comes to spell casting, ultimately, Joe, this is very true. Okay, when you're looking at spell casting, I will absolutely give you the tools and teach you how to implement them to make yourself more self-assured. Okay, more self-assured, more appealing, more approachable. I will absolutely do that. Okay, because the way I figured, if I'm going to open a school, I am not opening one that's half baked. I'm the only one that's allowed to be half baked in this world. Okay. And no, there's some of you out there that are completely baked. Of course, in all fairness, you use much better drugs than I am. But when I'm looking at the gaming world, the first thing I look at is this. Okay. First and foremost, ask yourself this. Okay. When you sit down to build a character, when you sit like, and this is where gaming crosses over into real life. I'm looking at myself. Now, I have been a recluse for 55 out of 60 years of my life. Okay. I am choosing to rebrand myself. Nope, that's wrong. I am not sticking heart pokers against my skin. I don't care who you are. I'm not doing it. Heck, I won't get a tattoo. Okay. But I'm looking at the world going, okay, I need to present a different type of world. Only I'm not waiting for the government anymore to tell me, oh, you can do it this way. I'm not waiting. I will turn around and get some information from them. Derek. Derek goes, I'm back for Dwibble my Twibble. The way I figured, it's time to take the worlds that I know. And here's the thing. I know the physical world as far as my little pocket of it goes. I know the gaming world. I've been doing it since June of 1976. I was only born in May of 63. So I've been doing it for a few years. The metaphysical world, I started working in, basically metaphysical world, as in tarot, that sort of thing, the paranormal world. Okay. I started when I was born. I went professional as in generating an income by pushing the limits starting in 1986, meaning I was 23 when I opened the door. And yet through all of this, I've remained reclusive. Okay. Now I'm going, okay, I stepped back into the world of gaming. In the gaming world, I am God. Okay. In your world, okay, as in the world that you directly have direction over, you are your own God. Now, do not get me wrong. This doesn't make you better than anybody else. I said, that is in your world regarding your direction. Black Dragon, Semper Fi. You know, I have looked at I've looked at the world the way it is and gone, okay, we're talking about going, people all over the world are talking about going to war. Okay, so am I. But I'm going to war against ignorance, as in that either accidental ignorance, as in you really don't know better for whatever reason. Okay, stupidity, sorry, no fixing stupidity. Stupidity can be fixed if the person being stupid desires to change. And it doesn't matter to me if somebody approaches me and is dumber than a fence post. If they've got the desire to learn, I will absolutely help. Okay. That's when I talk about an all inclusive school. This is what I'm referring to. Yes, Joe, there can only be one. There can only be one Joe. There can only be one Joe Monk. There will not be another. Okay. Absolutely there, Eric. Very, very much like the Kabbalah. All I'm doing is turning on the lights. Okay, I told the guys at the gaming table on our first session, there's two rules. Okay. Rule number one, I am God. Rule number two, if you have any questions, I am God. Okay. And sort of a third rule, if you're going to turn around and you're going to grab the rule books out and go, but it says right here, we go back to rule number one. I am God. In my world, as in I'm sitting here on this stream, this is me. Okay. And yes, Derek, absolutely. There can only be one Connor McLeod. Okay. There is only one of everybody. There are absolutely doppelgangers all over this world. And I mean physical lookalikes. But can you picture or have you ever met, even on video, somebody like me? Okay. I am not the best of the best. I'm really not. I'm barely passable in many things. But I will tell you, I don't watch the news because, quite frankly, it's not that I feel it's bought and paid for, it's I feel it's misleading. Okay. And I'm not interested in somebody telling me, oh, we're going to see, we're now suffering from, another food shortage, or we're suffering from a land shortage, or we're suffering from this. No. Buddy of mine actually gave me a bumper sticker a while ago. Okay. But he gave me a bumper sticker. It says, I don't suffer from insanity. I enjoy every minute of it. Okay. I figure if I'm going to come out of the shadows, I'm going to come out, I'm going to come out swinging, as it were. It's time we make this happen. It's time we take a look at your life and you go, am I content or am I not? If the answer is you're not content, let's find a way to change that. Quite often, yes, Joe. It's like that old saying, if you don't like the way I drive, stay off the sidewalk. I will tell you there's a lot less vehicular traffic on the sidewalk, but it can be rather crowded. See, I look at sanity a little different. Once a year we go to the sanity clause. But when somebody says you are insane, if you want to translate that, you are in the state of sanity. Okay. Or of saneness. So, absolutely. For the first time in my flaming life, I know exactly what I'm going to do, exactly how I'm going to do it. Okay. The question is, and like I told somebody a while ago, my world's going to change. You have one of two options. Okay. Either walk with me Or do me a favor, get the heck out of the way. I'm not interested in what I can't do. Okay. I was told I had to be, that I was going to be broken when I snapped my arm. Oh, you're going to be broken for 6 to 8 months minimum. My comment, I don't have time to be broken that long. 9 days and it healed. And yes, I will teach people how to do that for themselves, because all I'm doing is reminding you what your body can do and why it can do it. Okay. This is why I say when I'm building a school, I'm building one where I will actually teach people. Okay. I will give you quantifiable tools that can work. And this is literally the deal for it. Let's see. Black Dragon goes, there is a reason for my madness, but only chaos in my insanity. Here's the thing. Okay. Are you mad or do you just suffer from foresight? Okay. People used to tell me I was paranoid all the time until 30 years down the road, they went, oh, what you talked about happened. In a case like that, we are not talking paranoia. We are talking foresight. Okay. So what I've done here, the campaign that I've got, first and foremost, right now they're in a D&D style world. What they don't know is they are going to be, and this is only possible in the gaming world, it does not happen in the real world. Okay. But they are going to be jumping through different worlds to get to different technological evolutions. Okay. They won't be running into the same people, but they may be running into similar situations. Okay. But this is all going to be on the hunt for what they're for this rod. Okay. The rod of 7 parts is a part that every time you put part of it together, it leads you in the right direction. Okay. Problem, let us not forget the gods are involved. Okay. And therefore, all the additional powers that the artifacts are supposed to have may not work the same way. Okay. But that remains to be seen. Yeah, I've got to be designing that now. I've already designed, because most of the people in my gaming crew actually know the encounter charts. So I rearranged the encounter charts so they don't know what they're up against anymore. And I'll be hanged if I'm going to tell them what they're up against. Okay, because I found out that way too often people modify things. In my world, and I don't mean just my gaming world, I'm looking at it going, okay, what do I do now to make this work? How do I get people excited to be alive? It's easy to get to people depressed. It's easy to point to people and say, oh, we're all going to die. Well, we are. I don't know about you. I've already tried it a lot of times. Okay. That is the biggest thing that we're looking for, that we look at, is how do you take your world? How do we take the imagination and make that a viable, useful, encouraged tool? Okay. This is the key to changing the future. Okay. Well, more to the point, it'll change the present, and therefore the future will simply evolve. Okay. Now I think we have a hiccup here. Put my coffee up there out of the way. Bring that down. That dang thing turned to the top chat again. And move that over to live chat. And again, guys, if you haven't done so already, if you're just joining us, do me a favor. Do subscribe to the channel. Do give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and then share the daylights out of it. It is time for me to step out of the shadows, for me to go, this is what's happening. Because one of the neat little things, let me see if I've got it here. Move that out of the way. I think it's sitting right here. That hurt a lot. Okay. Something about gems, guys. Okay. Now, this, as I'm sure you guys are aware, well, some of you are, some of you may not be. This is an old-fashioned cash box. Okay. This here, where we start looking at the metaphysical world and gaming, get this. Take a stone like this. This is citrine. This one is malachite. Both of these are, because society looks at them that way, this way, both of these enhance financial draw. Okay. Now, strong recommendation, wherever you keep your money, even if it's just your bank card, okay, get a piece of either a piece of citrine. It's that orange colored one. Okay. A lot of quartz to it, but it's that orange that tells you it's citrine. Or if you take a look, malachite is green riddled with black. These are both, and these are both part charged with the option of drawing finances. Okay. Wherever you store your money, even if it's just your bank cards, these two won't have a lot of impact on on your computer. Although I do caution you, because citrine has a lot of quartz in it, I caution you, don't necessarily put your citrine right on the keyboard or right on the computer. Okay. The citrine itself balances things out a bit. Joe goes, Joe says, I had to refill my adult beverage. You know, oh, what do we got here? What is the lore behind the 8-sided die? That's the neat part. And for those, and because I don't have one right here, give me 10 seconds. Well, give me about 30. Well, no, still got coffee. I will be right back so people can see what we're talking about. Important little factor here, guys. Got my dice. Now, the question I went to get my dice for was because Big J, by the way, I missed you coming in. Big J, welcome aboard. Glad you could join us. Now, I don't know what their intentional issue was, but I can tell you this. Okay. Oh, glad you got it restarted there, Eric. I just got back with the dice issue. An 8-sided die. Okay. This is your standard one that everybody knows about. We call it, gamers call it a 6-sided die. Okay. But the 8-sided die, 8 is the number of prosperity. Okay. And the reason for that is because 8 and 4 is the number of foundation. Okay. 4 points also make the most powerful triangles, by the way. The most powerful pyramids, but rather. But 8 is your number of prosperity. Okay. The 8-sided die simply gave a variety for people. Okay, well, I wasn't in, obviously, on the design of the game and why they decided to go with that. But we have a 2-sided die, you just take even odd. A 3-sided die, meaning some people go a 1 and 2 is a 1, a 3, 4 is a 2, and a 5, 6 are a 3. Others, like myself, go 1 and 4 is 1, 2 and 5 is 2, and 3 and 6 are 3. Then you've got your 6-sided die. Then you've got your 8-sided die. Then we jump a little and we get to your 10-sided die. 2 of these is also a percentile. Okay. Then we get your 20-sided die, your to hit die. Okay. If you're a gamer, you already know this. These are simply the tools of the game. Okay. But from my standpoint, it boils down to this. Now, when did that happen? Raven, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Where are we here? Joe, stop that from doing that. Joe's asking, saying, I stashed my dream journals and paranormal folder in a closet just like you. And just like you, Keith, keep your personal stuff stashed somewhere. I've got filing cabinets sorting out a lot of my research material. And of course, I've got an armoire that has not only my cash, it's got my liquor cabinet. Of course, in all fairness, my liquor cabinet doesn't go very far. Where are we? Black Dragon is asking, whenever I played a chaotic neutral character, everyone knew it was bad luck for them. Chaotic neutral doesn't mean it has to be bad luck. It just means literally when I play one, I literally go, okay, here's the situation I'm facing. So I take my percentile dice. And these are really old. These are not metal. These are about 30 years old now, maybe a little older. But I take them if it's like, let's say he's chaotic neutral and we're breaking in, there's a fight starting up. I'll go, if it's a low number, then one being really good idea, really good for the group, 100 being really bad. So I take my dice and I roll them and I go, okay, there's a fight breaking out. And I roll because he's chaotic neutral, chaos being the issue. I take my percentile. In this case, I rolled an 83. My character would walk out of the fight. In D&D, just walk out of the fight and leave it alone. I have one character that was chaotic. He was in Aftermath, mind you. No, he wasn't. He was in D&D. Walked into a bar, and the place was crowded. He happened to be chaotic neutral. So it was a totally peaceful place. He walks in, he rolled a different roll that he thought was a really good idea. And he grabs a chair of an occupied table and one arms it over his shoulder. Bear in mind, he was built like a little freight train. Yeah, that would throw people for a loop. Because at least they wouldn't challenge it and say and challenge it and say you're cheating. They'd look at it and go, what the heck are those? Okay. I'm a firm believer that if I'm going to make my world change, I got to get off my tail feathers and make it happen. I am no longer going to be able to sit back and just wait for it to happen. It's got to be done, and it's got to be done now. My gaming world, I went, okay, how do I make this game more exciting? Okay, where it comes to a school, in your guys' eyes, and I asked this a little earlier, okay, and yes, I am a firm believer that Dungeons and Dragons and similar tabletop games are very useful as learning tools. Okay, they do make things a little bit more entertaining with a lot less bloodshed. Oh heavens, Joe, I've gone through a lot more than a portal. I found, yeah, the one thing I found is this. I'm sitting in a world that, and I've told you guys this, I'm not happy with the way the world is working around me. Well, I can't change the way the world is working around me directly, but I can certainly turn the lights on and go, I'm changing this. And that's just the way my world's going to go. Okay. So right now, okay, it was funny. When I went to work BC, right? They told me, the one guy says, well, I was told that you haven't even got a book in print. I said, I got 8 that are physically in print and I can prove it. I gotta ask one little question there, Black. Correct me if and this is the question. The Reno meeting is next year, right? Okay. If the answer is yes, and the viable travel is available, the answer is yes. If they've done something stupid with travel restrictions, that will stop me. But prior to, other than that, the intention there is, yeah, I'm planning on it. This year things went sideways, which is not surprising in my world, but this year I was, to say the least, scattered. Okay. Next year, when I come down, I am planning on coming down to the next one. Okay. But that's because I'm starting to plan for it now. Okay. I'm not trying to do it with only a couple of months to work things out. But I have to start working on it. The thing is, whatever your world looks like, you're the one that's got control over how it turns out. All I'm able to do, and all I'm intending on doing, is turning the lights on, making the information available in written form, and turning around and selling it, making people's dreams happen. Okay, or more to the point, helping them happen. You're still going to have to do the work. Oh, nice. So I got to ask you, Eric, are we taking new ghosts along, or are you creating new ghosts while we're out there? I got no problem with the taking ghosts along. I'm really not into the creating new ghosts. This is not necessarily a good idea. But yes, I'm intending, and Eric, from my standpoint, yes, I want to see Dave again. I would love to catch up with you in Reno again. We had a lot of what the heck is this? Somebody, why the heck do I want that? Teach me to look at something that doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, I think there should be. Lord knows. I like the way Shakespeare put it centuries back. If the dead were to stand up, we would have one heck of a population problem. Oh yeah, we absolutely did there, Eric. I still recall that quite well. Matter of fact, that particular little issue, I wonder if I've still got it here. Yep. Still, I don't believe in throwing things out if I can avoid it, but still got the pin of the T-shirt from it. And yes, I am looking into the T-shirt side of other things, especially given with the path I've decided to go down. But yeah, aside from the trip down there, making it stressful for me, the drive down there was not fun from my end. Um, I've got die 30. I just didn't bring one out with me. What do we got here? The die 100 was my insanity dice, and die 30 was the action he took. Yeah, and that depends entirely. I mean, everybody has their own way of doing it. You know, for me, the less I have to worry about, the happier I am. Unfortunately, I have a tendency of worrying about a lot of things, not the least of which is the path this world is on. And the fact I see so many of you that I can tell you have dreams, you've got goals, and you're looking at it going, but how do I get there? And that's what this whole thing is about. That's why I'm coming out of the cloud of the shadows. Okay, and rest assured, much as I have different weapons of different melee weapons and what have you of my own, I don't use them. And like I'm a pacifist. Of course, like I said, I built Jeremiah. Okay, and much as Jeremiah will talk his way out of whatever he can, you don't want to set him off. It's just a bad idea all the way around. You know, like I said, I've talked to you guys about some of it. Raven, how you doing? I think you were in a little earlier, were you not? But welcome aboard in either event. Um, I'm just going to put this right out on the table because I've got to start pushing this as well. But I've got to start, as a matter of fact, where is this? Did that? Yeah, knock all that over. That always works. Okay, got that sorted out. Um, one of the things I am going to be posting tonight, and I'm only on 3 streams or on 3 social media networks right now. Oh, absolutely, there, Eric. Jeremiah used to use his Jam 30 had 20 round had a 20 round drum. Okay, but he started off with an M1A1 a Tommy gun, and then got carried away with things. I am now actively looking, and this is why I just put this note down for myself to put a post together on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter to start finding different venues where I can actually start looking at pushing the books I've already written. I've got to start generating an income. I've got all this information sitting here. It's time to get it out. Just like it's time for me to get out of the shadows to step out into the public and go, hey, guys, I know you're going through a lot of panic. I know there's a lot of stress. No, sad to say, Joe, I actually don't own a gun of my own, period. Okay. I have only personally fired a 9mm. Okay. Although I did track down, I nearly bought a 747 or a 740, no. I nearly bought a 44 Magnum. Okay. I did find the price for one years ago. Okay. And along with an autoloading shotgun. But I personally am not violent. Okay. Back me into a corner, we may have a problem. Okay. And apparently, like I was talking, I pulled a maneuver years ago. I was playing around with a boken with a practice sword. And it turns out the maneuver I made is apparently a master swordsman move. Now, I've never been trained this lifetime in swordsmanship. And Joe goes, you got to give it back. Okay, Dirty Harry is going to be unhappy if he doesn't get his gun back. Of course, there's a lot of people who may live a little longer if you don't give it back to him, but that's a thing. The nice part about the imagination is you can have all these toys. Like I remember an article, I've got it around here somewhere, where this gamer, he goes, I've got all the tools, all the weapons. He says, when somebody broke into my house, he said, I ran from the house, ran from the room, past my katana that was hanging up on the wall. I dove, I ran past the Bowie knife sitting on my bedside table, tumbled onto the floor beyond my bed, ignored the mace that was in my bedroom, in my closet, and scrambled under the bed to rapidly pull out my trusty cell phone and phone 911. Most gamers are fantastic on the gaming field, but I kid you not, most gamers are very quiet. That's just terrible, Joe. Joe, I've only heard one other person use that. Okay, use that neener. I've only ever heard one other person actually use that comment. And seriously, it's literally my current other half. Okay, but it does bring all sorts of images to mind, absolutely. But in the gaming world I'm running, I am looking at setting all kinds of things in motion, including one-way walls, because I'm designing a dungeon for them to go through that they'll have to figure out the traps and what have you, and hope they survive. Okay, or hope they don't end up in another problem. But I haven't designed all that yet. That's for 2 or 3 weeks down the road. But the more you understand, the more senses you can involve in your vision of your own world, the better that transition is going to happen, the more effective it's going to be. Okay, this is the reality behind life. You desire it. First rule of thumb, get the image in your head. Now, that said, okay, and I'm very open to input as to what kind of value you guys feel, especially in the way of paranormal courses and what have you, including teaching, like I've already got a course outline for teaching tarot, okay, where you, by the end of it, not only have your own tarot deck, but you've designed your own layout and tested it. Okay, these are courses I've already laid out. So when I talk about having a school and opening a healing center, this is what I'm talking about. Role-playing, D&D, that's only one aspect. That's the aspect of the imagination. Okay, and rest assured, the imagination is one of the most underrated tools available to all of corporeal kind. Okay, in my opinion, the two most wasted commodities in existence are the wisdom of the seniors and the enthusiasm of the youngsters. Now, yes, I'm senior to some of you, but I am still, compared to some of the people I know, number one, still very much a child, very undereducated, if you will. Although I did get told by the lady in Work BC today that she figured my mind was way ahead of the game, which, okay, I can work with it. Especially when you think about the way that a lot of the people she deals with actually don't tend to think. But I'm putting together a list of the different things that I require to make my life work better. And I encourage you to follow suit. Take a sheet of paper if you haven't done so already, right now. Okay, right here, right now. This is the only time you can ever change anything. Because even if you wait 10 minutes, when you make that choice to do something, it is right here, right now. And this is why I strongly recommend the idea of getting this list started. Pick one thing you're not content with. whatever it is. I pick the organization of my drawers. Yeah, and I'm referring to those ones over there, not the ones I wear. Okay. But come to think of it, I made a modification here. One was empty. What number was it? Drawer number 12 is no longer empty. Drawer number 12 has AAs, has AA batteries, and drawer 16 has AAA. Okay, that's what I mean. When you look at your world, decide what needs to get changed, what requires changing, and make something happen. Yeah, Raymond goes, I'm amazed when someone says I have no idea. Unfortunately, people are being taught not to think. This is why it's become such a common thing, even amongst the so-called successful businesses. The major moguls have such a bizarre situation. Do you do this? I don't know if we do that. How are you in business if you don't know? This is why I'm doing my best to get ahead of the game now and get laid out. And World Bigfoot, how you doing? Long time no see. Of course, that might have been in case a long time no notice. But guys, this is a link to World Bigfoot stream. Okay. Absolutely. Drop in, give it a listen. If you like what he says, give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. It's time we start moving things. Okay. The world is just saying, that's true. You can't run away from your troubles because no matter where you go, there you are. Right straight out of Beyond Thunderdome. Love that movie, in all fairness. Wasn't happy with Mad Max Fury Road, to be honest. Okay, but Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, I absolutely enjoyed. Oh, nice. Now, I gotta ask, World, did you have any luck in actually sitting down and having a spoken with them? They really are. They are some of the gentlest people. When I was growing up, they were almost bar none the gentlest people I'd ever run into. Quite possibly they were the gentlest. Because I do know I was only about 4 years old when I got lost. Nope, might have been 6. But in any event, I got lost in the woods and it was Bigfoot. It was the Sasquatch that brought me home. Okay. Took us a little while to figure out where home was because I didn't know. So I had to explain, I had to show them by just drawing on the ground with a stick on the dirt what my home looked like, which really, from my standpoint, boiled down to a metal box. So I just drew the box and went, that's what it looks like. And all of a sudden, the father looks at me and goes, great. He all of a sudden gets a smile on his face, kind of an eerie feeling, really. Picked me up in the crook of his arm. Okay, so I was sitting on his arm, and he carried me out to the edge of the campsite we were at, sat me down, and then when I say he put his hand across my back, I mean this finger and the thumb to this finger reached shoulder to shoulder, and he gently pushed me out into the clearing. As soon as I saw Dad, I started running for Dad. And the big guy just turned around and disappeared. It was his son that found me. Okay. But even his son was double my height. Absolutely, Black Dragon. It really is. The other thing I found that we found a lot of the time, okay, when I was gaming, you knew it was going to be hectic when the gamers came through the door and 2 or 3 of us were having a bad day. It's like, I got to kill something. You know it's going to be exciting at that point, but it's a great stress release. And we're all just going first night, 20 minutes after what gotta stop that from scrolling. 20 minutes after we went to sleep, one walked in between my tent and Johnny's car. Sounded like an elephant, much louder than any animal I've ever heard. Johnny said his car literally shook from it. Yeah, they are not, Bigfoot are not small people. Okay. They are not light people by any stretch. It is amazing how quietly they can walk when they choose to. Okay. I've heard now, and I don't know, world. I heard one Bigfoot researcher claim they had seen Bigfoot as much as 20 feet tall. Have you ever heard of a Bigfoot that size? I'm just curious, because quite honestly, from what I've seen of your work, in my opinion, far surpasses the other work I've seen. Okay. But I'm just curious if you've ever heard even tale, of a 20-foot tall Bigfoot. Yeah, clearly, because they can walk and you never hear them. Okay. But it's a great way to let people know, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, don't bother me. But I look at the world, we're living in and go, it's time to make it happen. With this in mind, guys, we're just hitting the 2 hour. Well, we just hit the 2 hour mark. And since I've got a consultation coming in a little bit, well, I've been closing you down anyway. Again, if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and do me a favor, share the daylights out of the thing. It's time to make things grow. Oh, okay. Perfect, Bigfoot. Bigfoot. Well, truly, thank you so much for the clarification there, world. I do have to bring this to a close, but I will be back again tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is Tuesday, so what are we dealing with? No, tomorrow's Wednesday. So what are we dealing with tomorrow? Tomorrow, we are dealing with how to cope with dealing with somebody with dementia. Now, understand, I am no clinical psychologist. I will simply open the door and we'll see where the topic goes. Okay. Oh, what do we got here? Wow, that came out really badly. I will be back. I honestly cannot read your name, whoever you are that just came in. But I'm glad you could join us. Okay, I don't know if that's a typo or what the story was. But that being said, I will be back. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.